Hi yogis, welcome to this explanation, but also a little practice about Yin Yoga and what it is, why do we want to do it maybe, and how it looks like. So, Yin Yoga is supposed to be exactly the opposite of Vinyasa flow yoga or Ashtanga yoga or any dynamic and mostly strength building, I would say, kind of practice. So Yin wants to be the opposite, so it wants to be not using any muscles, which might feel unsafe, but I will explain. And it wants to be very slow, so you are holding the poses for extremely long, and you want to negate everything that you do. So if your life is not just the practice, is very, I would say, loud and a lot of stuff is happening, you want in your in practice to have the least amount of stuff being happening. And this is not restorative yin yoga or restorative practice where you would usually just relax fully, and it's mostly based on relaxation. But in like the traditional yin yoga, you actually want to create a little bit of stress on your body, on your tissues, and then stay there and then work through that in silence, in calmness, in very, very deep breath. And the reason why we are doing this is we want to target the connective tissue. So everything that is connecting, the whole everything, your whole body basically, not just the muscles and the bones and ligaments and stuff like that, but also stuff that is connecting your organs and your, yeah, basically everything that is somehow wrapping around the more dynamic kind of tissues that you have. So we are targeting the fascia that is more superficial. We're also targeting skin. Then underneath, if you go deeper into more rigid structures, there are ligaments and tendons, ligaments that connect the muscles to the bones and tendons that connect the bones to other bones. And then the bones themselves, which is like the most rigid kind of tissue that you have, but it's still in a way, it's rebuilding itself and it can be targeted. So in order to turn off the muscles, I like this saying where they say that you have to support your bones, so your muscles don't need to be there to do that kind of thing. So if you use your props, this is why we use a lot of props. I don't have any here, but they are close by, and they don't need to be something that you buy from a shop. So you can use books, you can use something that can bear some kind of weight. You can use pillows, or I have these huge pillows from my sofa instead of bolsters. But you can also buy yoga bolsters, and you can also use sandbags or something that is heavier and that can put a little bit pressure on top of you if the gravity and your body weight is not enough. The main poses that I like to practice are butterfly or basically Baddha Konasana fold, and then something that is called caterpillar, which is mostly a normal forward fold with legs somehow straight. And the last one is happy baby, which can be quite intense. It targets the hips, but it's also lying on your back, so it has a little bit of a different kind of effect on also your mind, not just your body. So you can also look at Yin Yoga as something that targets your body, that connective part, connective tissues, but you can also look at Yin Yoga as something spiritual and mindful. So you bring really a lot of focus and a lot of concentration into it, and then maybe it will affect also your psyche from like purely going into your thoughts and trying to relax, almost like going into a meditation. So let's start. Grab at least something that you can put, for example, your forehead on. And if you like, you can put really these huge pillows underneath, especially if you are not the best at forward folding. The point here is not to overstress the tissues, since these are something you can imagine chewing gum, which is not really true. But if you stretch your chewing gum too much, of course it will tear, it will rip. And you can imagine your tendons and ligaments and fascia in a similar way, but in this case you stress them only to a certain point. So we go like 60-70%. You can place your blocks here in between your legs, and we will go for that Baddha Konasana first. So the feet soles will go together, and if you have something to support your knees also, might be helpful. More blocks will be needed for this one maybe. Inhale, you can reach your arms up just to like have a little stretch, and then with your exhale you fold forward. Your legs can go a little bit more forward if you feel like that's where you can target your hips maybe a little bit better. And then you place your forehead on your block, just so your head is not hanging again, supporting those bones, those muscles. Your hands can go wherever, you can let them go. You can also turn the head to a side, but then don't forget to switch it to the other side if having the forehead on the block is not comfortable. So I will continue with the analogy about the chewing gum. In this case, this chewing gum is actually something that will be able to repair after it was stretched, because our tissues are basically in a dynamic way, they work and are being rebuilt by the cells that go and they check, and if there is a small damage they will repair it. And by stretching you are creating some kind of stimulus, so you are stimulating the tissues and you are making sure that the cells that are responsible for the repair are being awakened, and then they go and do their jobs. So fully relax everything. Take a big breath. Exhale. The rule number one in any yin pose in practice is to find your edge, trying to find that stretch or a compression even in certain parts of your body in order to find that stimulus, that stimulation. So going around approximately 60 to 70% of your maximum range, or of where you would feel too much sensations or even pain, you want to avoid that. Then the rule number two is to find stillness. So really committing, once you find your edge, to that shape, whatever it is that you created. Then finding the stillness in your breath. Of course, allowing the belly to go out with the inhales. Making your breath maybe even calmer, more relaxed. And lastly, your mind also focused maybe to something. Maybe you bring your focus to the tip of your nose or behind your eyes, or you just observe your breath. And the last rule is to stay for a while. So holding the pose or even trying to release in the pose for at least 3 minutes, all the way up to 10 or even 15 minutes over the time of the practice once you are used to it more and more. And all these rules can be, of course, broken in case you want to go deeper, so maybe your muscles relaxed more and you're able to shift into a deeper stage where you reach another 60-70%, so your perception changes on what's your edge. Or, of course, if this is too intense for you or you feel pain in any part of your body, or you feel even uneasy from your mind, to go slightly out of the pose or break it and just not be in the pose, you can lie in your shavasana for a while. In your Barakonasana, you can notice the points where your body is touching the ground, your sitting bones, your glutes, and your ankles. This is the point where you have compression happening from your body, your tissues, and the ground. The second point of compression is in your hips at the front. Maybe some kind of tilting in the inside of the ankles or inside of the knees. Maybe there is a little bit of compression on your spine as it's rounded. And by using that block underneath your forehead, you can ease off if this doesn't feel good. And then, of course, there is a stretch being created on the outer hips, on your back of the spine, in contrast from the front part of the spine where you have the compression, maybe on your neck. Notice again your breath. Make it a little bit deeper to slowly start taking yourself out of the pose. You can spread your toes a little bit, wiggle them, and you can press the feet towards each other. If it's possible, that activates your muscles from the inside of your legs. Your knees might lift a little bit. And use your hands to press yourself carefully away from the ground. Do sit. You can keep your eyes closed. You can grab your knees and either going into Shavasana or you place your feet as wide as your mat. You lean back into your fingertips and you create a little bit of internal rotation with your left and then with your right leg. You can introduce small movements in between the yin practice, in between the yin poses. And then extend the legs forward, very similar to what we just did before, but this time with the legs straight, so truly targeting just the back side, back chain of the body. Inhale here. You can do a little stretch here, activating small kind of muscles. And with your exhale, again, folding forward, relaxing your legs, especially if you are used to active poses where you are flexing everything. Try to release your spine, your legs, your ankles, even if your toes start to turn a little bit out. Even if your knees tend to bend a little bit, keep everything as it is. And close your eyes and try to find your edge again. So where can you feel that stretch enough to make some change? You can take a clearing breath here in through your nose and out through your nose. Slowly noticing as maybe you still hold some kind of attention in your legs, in your feet, in your spine and in your neck, and also in your face, in your jaw, in between your eyes, in your cheeks. And you can imagine the whole back side, starting from the bottom of the feet, since everything is connected, through the back side of your calves, your knees, and your thighs. And then doing this little turn around at the back of your hips and through the whole spine from the bottom, through the middle and the upper back, your neck, and even ending on the back of your head. And then the other part of the yin practice is also silence as a contrast to maybe the life, especially if you're living in a city. So we will take 10 long breaths in silence. Before you start to move or do anything, just notice the breath, how it moves your body. So as you're inhaling, notice how everything is lifted a little bit. It's supported with that inhale, and then as you're exhaling, notice how your body releases naturally even more. Then, once you are exhaling, squeeze the belly in and then breathe in a little bit deeper. And exhale fully. Again, you can use your hands to help you. You can activate your legs a little bit, especially since you're starting to move, to protect that connective tissue using your muscles. And either windshield wipe your legs again, or you can lie on your back, carefully lowering yourself down even without opening your eyes. If you're lying down, notice the shifts. This is called rebound feelings, where the tissues start to creep back to their previous length. Stuff shifts and even cracks sometimes. Take a big inhale through your nose and exhale. And then bend the knees one at a time. And grab your feet from the outer side. Or maybe inner side or big toes, and open the legs out. And this is again not the variation of happy baby that you would know, because here you can allow everything to release. Just your hands needs to be working on keeping the legs somewhat upright, but the rest of your body relaxes. Your head, your face, your neck, your shoulders, your whole spine, your hips, your knees, your ankles, and your feet are relaxed. You can close your eyes if you opened. And let the breath again lead you through this pose for several more minutes. This time maybe feeling more compression in your hips than we did before. Or maybe your hips actually feel more free with this more opened kind of hips position than in the caterpillar before. Notice also again all the touching points of your body and the ground. Can you make them heavier with releasing? The whole point of meditation and relaxation, active relaxation, is you want to achieve the full relaxation of your body while your mind is awake. Because only when you release everything, you can somehow stop feeling, you can disconnect actively from the physical and outside also world, to focus fully into the mind stuff and the inner world that's happening inside of your head. And only using these techniques you can fully get to know yourself, how you react when there is nothing left, how your mind behaves when it's left alone. Again, let's take, you can count your breaths all the way up to a 10 approximately. And then slowly let the heels go down towards your hips and stretch your legs in front of you, one at a time, experiencing in your Shavasana that rebound feelings. Maybe noticing changes of temperature going up and down your legs, maybe your hands, maybe your spine. And then you can feel free to stay here for as long as it serves you in your Shavasana. I will say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.